A few days ago, at a meeting with members of the government, we spoke in detail and discussed the situation on the domestic market for petroleum products. I would like to repeat once again. We need to minimize the consequences of terrorist attacks on our peaceful civilian facilities and infrastructure facilities. Today, with the participation of the heads of our leading energy companies, I propose that we consider additional steps designed to ensure an uninterrupted, stable supply of fuel to citizens, businesses, enterprises, and socially important organizations, and also discuss how the decisions already taken in this area are being implemented. I have been in regular contact with some colleagues, but nevertheless, I asked everyone to gather so that we could exchange views on how to organize this work jointly. At the same time, it is known that the capacities of the largest oil refineries are being used to the maximum. The potential of medium-sized and small enterprises is also being utilized. The periods of ongoing repairs have been shortened, and scheduled repairs have been postponed to later periods. And already in July, according to forecasts, production of the main types of fuel should exceed the figures for the same period last year. I would especially note that, in the current situation, our leading companies, including private companies, are proving themselves to be reliable partners of the state. The extraordinary tasks that arise are being resolved clearly, promptly, and competently, in the interests of the country and our citizens. I would add that previously accumulated volumes of fuel have also been supplied to the domestic market. But despite the fact that we have begun using our reserves, at present, gasoline reserves are practically at the level of the same period last year. And here we need to continue acting in a balanced manner and, of course, carefully. According to the report provided by the Ministry of Energy, gasoline reserves currently amount to 1.7 million tons, which practically corresponds to the level for the same period last year. There has been a small decrease, just 4%. In addition, in the interests of domestic consumers, a temporary complete ban has been introduced on the export of gasoline and aviation kerosene. The need to introduce a complete ban on diesel fuel exports is also being considered. I know that questions may arise now about possible oversupply, but that is precisely why we have gathered. To prevent steps that, generally speaking, we do not need to avoid creating additional problems for ourselves. So, we will discuss these issues. At the same time, as you know very well, problems remain for both motorists and businesses. Unfortunately, there are also queues at gas stations, and it is not always possible to find the required grade of gasoline at the moment. And, of course, we understand the difficulties faced by agricultural producers and farms during the summer period. Every effort must be made to ensure that fuel supply schedules for agricultural enterprises are observed. The harvest depends on this. Overall, to stabilize the fuel market, I believe it is necessary to take systematic measures that correspond to the scale of the current challenges. This concerns both increasing the volume of supply and the need to maintain economically justified fuel prices. For operational monitoring of the situation, the government has established a special task force that operates around the clock. Additional proposals for supplying the domestic market with fuel have also been prepared jointly with the oil companies. Let us discuss all of this in detail.